Welcome back, everyone, to Coin Bureau Clips.
Guys, again.
It is Friday once again. Gosh, that came around fast, didn't
Very
it?
quick, yeah.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It really does. So it's time for another Q&A. I am back with Nick once again. Now, before we get into the questions, there is a burning issue to talk about, and that is what Nick is wearing. Nick, can you show the viewers your trousers, please?
Yeah, please. It's a red day in the market, so I thought I would oblige and commiserate the red day on the markets. These are velvet pants, and they are garish, and but they're comfortable, so that's all that matters, right? So, yeah.
Now, but it gets worse, folks. What Nick isn't telling you is that these red velvet trousers are part of a set. You do actually have a matching top.
I do have a red matching top, a red velvet matching top. But I thought that if I wore it for this Q&A, people would mistake me for Red Riding Hood or something. Or maybe I'm promoting some sort of a meme coin, you know. Yeah.
People just frantically unsubscribe. Oh my God.
I'd be like, what's going on here? What scam are being sold? So I thought, I'll just... The pants are below the fold, so it's fine. You know?
Yeah. If I hadn't said anything, people wouldn't be any the wiser. Me and my big mouth. Leave a comment down below if you would like to see Nick wear the full outfit for the next one.
If you guys really want to see that, man, I'll oblige.
Yeah.
You know, or for the viewers.
Or whether you think the outfit should be gathered together in one place and ceremonially set on fire. That's the other option. Let us know. Or should he try and get a green one?
A green one for the markets. I did try to find it, but unfortunately they either sold out or discontinued. So I think that, if it's the former, that's a great sign. If it's the latter, well, then I got some bad fashion taste.
Yeah. That would look quite, I suppose it would be quite a good pairing if I was wearing a green one and you were wearing a red one. We'd look like a sort of pair of candles.
Would you wear that? Would you wear it? If I got it for your birthday, would you get it?
If that's what the viewers demand.
There we go.
Okay, so you know the format by now, guys. You know the drill. People have very kindly sent in questions on Instagram. We have selected a few to answer today, and we're going to dive right in now that we've dealt with the most pressing topic of the day. Nick, Selvin Silva, or maybe Selvin D Silva, who knows, asks if BTC has all-time high this year, 2024, will the 4-year cycle theory become invalid?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And there's been a lot of commentary on this over the past few weeks on Twitter and elsewhere. So obviously the 4-year cycle theory is that every 4 years Bitcoin goes to the market cycles. The bull cycle then translates obviously into the bear. And so the previous top was 2021, 69,000. And basically, if we reach an all-time high with Bitcoin this year, which many are expecting, right? We're not too far off of it at 69,000. Then that will invalidate the 4-year cycle. And there's also this left translated theory where the markets have moved much quicker than expected and it's become a bit early. Many say this is because of obviously the ETF and a lot of hype around that as well. So to answer the question more directly, do I think it's going to be invalid this year? Yes, and I think in the future as well, the 4-year cycle is going to stop being, it's going to peter out eventually. And that's because of two things. I think one is, of course, the ETFs, how they've changed the market structure completely. It's now become more of a TradFi asset that trades according to TradFi conditions. And it's going to be dominated by other sorts of market cycles that are not related to necessarily Bitcoin. And then more, specifically, the reason we usually have the 4-year cycle is around the halving, which happens every 4 years. But as we've talked about many times, the impact of the halving will become that much less significant because of the inflation rate. It will tend to zero, and the impact of the flow on the stock of Bitcoin, if you believe in the stock to flow model, will be less impactful as well. So from those perspectives, I think that as we grow and as we go through as Bitcoin approaches the 21 million limit, and as well as Bitcoin becomes more of a TradFi asset, we are not going to have the 4-year market cycle theory.
Okay, interesting. Now, I've got a follow-up question to this because, as you say, the ETF seems to have changed the market structure pretty radically. Do you think there's a chance that in the same way that Bitcoin has decoupled from stocks in the past, we could see Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market decouple in some way? Could the altcoin market become perhaps less correlated to BTC as a result perhaps of these ETFs? And you would assume more BTC being kind of locked away for longer.
Yeah, BTC would become a bit more of a traditional asset. The alts, they won't be as easy to access as Bitcoin, because I don't think, although we may see an Ethereum ETF this year, and obviously ETF makes it a lot easier for TradFi investors to invest in crypto through a tax-regulated wrapper. And although we may see an ETH ETF this year, or likely could, any other sort of altcoin ETFs is not likely, at least for the next few years. So if that's the fact that Bitcoin is going to be viewed as an asset that people can just allocate as in their normal portfolio as a risk off or whatever, whichever way you want to think about it. But the fact of the matter is that alts will continue to dominate different kind of cycles, different things will drive them, and it won't be driven by the Bitcoin market cycles necessarily.
Yeah. Okay.
Good question. Next question is from FSPM, and he's asking 3 blue chips to hold for 10 years. Ooh. So 3 blue chips, guy. What are you going to go for?
3 blue chips. Okay, I guess, well, I mean, I have to say BTC and ETH, really. I'm not going to say another layer 1, though, because I think that is so, I'd be tempted to say something like Sol, but I think that's kind of an easy one. And also, I think the layer 1 space is becoming so complicated, and now that we've got the threat from the layer 2s as well. So I'm tempted to say something entirely different. I mean, I'm tempted to say something along the lines of, something an entirely different category. So maybe, for example, Oracle category. So maybe something like Chainlink or Pyth. Now, I should say, I obviously hold BTC and ETH. I do hold some Pyth as well. So, you should know that I obviously have a vested interest in Pyth becoming a blue chip crypto, which I think it could. But I think maybe that particular sector, something different. I think we need a bit of variety. So maybe something like that. Perhaps one of these layer 2s, perhaps something like Arbitrum as well. I also hold some ARB. I think that could have a big future ahead of it.
Yeah, and Pyth has done very well recently, right?
Pyth has done very well, yeah. Unlike some of my other picks.
So you think that the need for the infrastructure bringing on-chain, off-chain data in a highly performant way that Pyth does is a good play for the future?
I think so. I think it's one of those kind of picks and shovels, infrastructure plays that I think any sort of healthy sector needs, and therefore I think there is going to be a need for some sort of Oracle crypto, and I think Pyth and Chainlink are the ones to watch at the moment. Certainly the market leaders, although I should say Chainlink is by the market leader by a very long way.
Yeah,
so,
of course. Yeah, I mean those are good picks. Bitcoin, Ethereum, obviously, they've got to hold those, and then I'm actually gonna go for L1.
Okay.
Right. And I know, look, it's difficult if you're asking me to narrow it down to 3 and only one extra coin apart from Bitcoin and Ethereum, because there's obviously, I've got a wide portfolio and there's a lot of coins I'm bullish on. But I'm going to go with a relatively non-traditional pick when it comes to the L1s. And this is going to be NIA.
Ooh, interesting.
Now, we just did a video on the main channel on NIA, so I would encourage you guys to go and watch it. So we'll link to it below. But I think that from the perspective of undervalued L1s compared to the fundamental factors involved, I think NIA is a relatively attractive pick. First of all, the technology is amazing. They're one of the first few to implement sharding. They've got this dynamic resharding tech, which is really exciting. Team is super smart.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things building on NIA that you don't actually appreciate, and a lot of exciting projects. And the TVL is relative to the performance of the price compared to how the TVL has grown over the past few months. So on a value basis, I think NIA is an exciting L1 to consider. Like I say, the team's super smart, and obviously I hold it in my personal portfolio, so it's important to get out there. But I would encourage you guys to watch that review. I think that in the L1 space, it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah. I must say, it'd been a while since, it'd been about 2 years since we'd covered NIA, hadn't it? And it was one of those projects, I think I'd sort of, before we researched the video and did it, it was sort of like, NIA, I wonder what, I kind of wonder what happened there, because it doesn't seem to have quite grabbed a niche in the way that something like Solana or Avalanche has.
A narrative. It hasn't been able to jump onto a particular narrative, right? And that's fine. I think that things come and go. Although, it could potentially, you know that the history of Near, right? The Near name came from it. They originally wanted to become they wanted to be an AI startup.
Yeah.
And they were, so the whole concept of the name was Near AI, so Near Artificial General Intelligence. They were thinking of crowdsourcing like data for the AI algorithms, and they found out how hard it was to actually make remittance payments. And then they thought, well, maybe we can try and solve that problem, and let's pivot to crypto.
Yeah. So perhaps now that they have their pretty awesome sort of crypto product in place, maybe they can pivot back to AI. Obviously, AI is the hot narrative at the moment. And again, it's going to be difficult, like with GameFi, it's going to be difficult to pick individual AI projects. So maybe, the best bet is to bet on the underlying blockchain. And if Near corners that market, which I think it seems to be sort of going for, it would make sense for it to go for that. Yeah, it makes sense.
And if they have the background and expertise, if they really wanted to start as an AI startup, right, like they've obviously got the experience for it. So, and as a blockchain that's highly performant, potentially this could be the one that they want to consider building on. So
yeah, I've been asleep on Near. I might have to pick up some Near. I'm thinking about it.
Join the Near party, man.
Interesting. Okay, actually, looking through and thinking another blue chip. I'm going to put another one out there because this is one that I think is this recently had a big announcement.
Yeah,
and it's an old one, but it just seems to keep on going, and that's Filecoin.
Interesting, yeah. Filecoin. Okay.
Filecoin is one of the oldest altcoins out there. It's been around for a long old time.
To be fair, I think Filecoin, look, they have a spotty record in terms of price action because they had a massive issue on the unlock and the tokens when they initially rolled out and hit TGE, and there was this massive collapse, and there was a lot of concerns around that. But in terms of the tech, it's building on IPFS, right?
Yeah.
IPFS is one of the most decentralized, networks out there from the perspective of decentralized internet right now. So that's, and obviously they raised in the previous, it was 2017, they completed a raise. They raised a lot of money. I think they were one of the biggest. It wasn't $1 billion. I think it was about 600. Don't quote me, but about 600, 700. But it was a lot of money for that cycle, right? I think it was second only to EOS. We shall not mention that. Better said, better unsaid. Yeah. But it raised a lot of money. I remember. I think that the founder behind it is he's a savant of some description. So it's interesting to see it's gaining traction again.
Yeah.
Wasn't Arthur Hayes? Wasn't he shilling this a lot as well?
Arthur Hayes was a big fan of. I may still be a big fan of Filecoin. I think he picked up a bag of fill. Yeah, recently.
Have his fill of fill.
Yeah. And recently, Filecoin announced a partnership with Solana. Jess and I were talking about this on the live stream the other day because obviously Solana needs a lot of storage because of the way its blockchain is, and used to use Arweave, which was sort of Filecoin's main competitor. But they now seem to have gone with Filecoin, and that I think is the reason why Filecoin is up pretty big over the last week or so. It's stuck around. It's got a use case. It's got a history. It's probably still pretty well capitalized.
But I think it's actually a good point around, a blue chip for tenure. If you think about the need for sort of decentralized technology, and one of them definitely is storage.
Yeah.
Right? And because obviously that's a single point of failure. If you got all this stored on nodes, a lot of nodes have been run, for instance, on AWS, right?
Yeah.
Which is obviously a massive point of failure.
Well,
right?
Solana was storing data on Google Bigtable as well.
Google. So it's like if you store in your data on, if Amazon and Google can determine whether, okay, let's just go and you run in a node and let's just stop any traffic coming out of a node, going to, propagate on the Ethereum network or Solana network, then what, right?
Yeah.
So that is interesting. I think it's a good pick for sure.
Yeah, and I think as the AI narrative hots up, AI is going to use a lot of data. It's going to produce a lot of data. It's all got to be stored somewhere. Okay, that was a long answer to a short question, wasn't it? So, okay, Rick Blend 222 asks, thoughts on Harry Dent economic collapse prediction?
Yeah. So, did you know about this Harry Dent chap? Have you ever heard of him?
I can honestly say I have not heard the name Harry Dent before.
So I hadn't either, right? So I decided I would go and take a look at what he's been saying recently, and he's been quoted in a lot of financial publications recently, and he's predicting an all calamitous, massive everything bubble where we're going to see a massive collapse, worse than 1929. I mean, I'll read you one of his quotes. It's like, This is the one time I'm telling you, do not listen to your financial advisor. Things are not going to come back to normal in a few years. We may never see these levels again. And this crash is not going to be a correction. It's going to be more in 1929 to 1932 level. And anybody who sat through that would have shot their stockbroker.
Wow.
That's an 86% crash in the S&P, a 92% crash in NASDAQ. And crypto, it's going to be 96%. So that is a big deal.
Ouch.
So he's basically Chicken Little, skies falling, all this kind of stuff. Nurul Bini, Nassim Nicholas Taleb, the world is going to end, massive everything bubble.
Yeah.
Hide your kids, go and find the nuclear bunker. So it's interesting. Like I was looking at this, I was like, his whole thesis is, okay, there's been a lot of liquidity from the Fed ever since 2009, since the great financial crisis. And I thought, okay, well, let me go and take a look at some of his previous predictions. Let me go and take a look at his background, because I don't know too much about him. And he's a very good author. He sells a lot of good books. And he knows how to sell a book. Mm-hmm. But in terms of his previous predictions, I mean, in 2002 to 2004, he actually ran a fund, and it was, it fell by 11% per annum for 4 years, and eventually the fund sponsor put it out of its misery. And he launched another fund in 2009 where he was actually a co-manager, and that actually had to be liquidated.
Okay, so yeah, he hasn't got
a very spotless record. So I mean, I don't want to cast too many aspersions on the guy. I haven't read too much of his books. I can't speak for all his predictions. I mean, if you make 1 million predictions, eventually one of them is going to be right? Yeah. But what I will say is, we can also have a debate whether we think Q2 is going to potentially be a correction because of the BTFP was going to be, ending and all that.
Liquidity
and
issues,
we've talked about this a few times, which is fine. That's a reasonable debate. But I generally get skeptical when people are out there predicting, the end to all and, a massive collapse. And because it's easy to make those predictions all the time and try and warn people. But at the end of the day, also being out of the market can be, not financially beneficial for anyone. And it's like this scary and Chicken Little kind of stuff. I'm generally I'm viewed very skeptically. So yeah, I don't think his predictions are going to be borne out. But yeah,
let's hope not.
Let's hope not.
He's not right.
I mean, yeah, well, if he says 96% for crypto, well, then shit,
Yeah.
What are we going to say, right?
Well, make sure you take profits just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I guess doomsday predictions generally tend to get more column inches, more headlines than, predictions like, it's probably going to be all right.
Because people are naturally averse to losses, right?
Yeah.
If you've made a lot of money in your stocks, people generally sell better to tell people that you have to sell out right now, which is why he's been quoted a lot.
Yeah.
Right? This massive economic collapse.
Yeah.
And then he sells his books.
Yeah. Robert Kiyosaki, I think. I'm always seeing sort of headlines on Google from him, Rich Dad, Poor Dad author predicts worldwide economic collapse.
Yeah. He's been predicting for quite some time. Yeah.
Get used to eating squirrel and all this, harvesting rainwater and all this sort of stuff. It's like, okay. Yeah. Having said that, the S&P the S&P is pumping, isn't it?
Pumping,
it seems pretty irrational. It's being basically propped up by Nvidia.
NASDAQ's going mental. So
so don't rule out a crash. But I guess what this says is make sure you have a backup plan. Make sure you're prepared.
Make sure,
try and have some savings.
And don't be too swayed by one particular individual. Do wide range in research and get the perspectives of lots of different people. And also, it helps to take a look at their background in terms of what sort of predictions they've made in the past.
Yeah.
And sometimes they may make a good prediction, right? Like Nurul Bini, right? Dr. Doom. He predicted the great financial crisis, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a big check. But then obviously since then he's been constantly bashing crypto, right? And he's been constantly on that realm, and people think, oh, okay, Dr. Doom, he predicted one massive crash.
Yeah,
he must know everything right now.
Yeah.
He must know all markets.
But isn't he now endorsing
He's
some
now
crypto?
endorsing some crypto. He's now launched his own crypto. So he's done the ultimate pivot.
I was trapped inside a cage made out of the daily grind.
I was so unfulfilled. I felt like a blank sheet of A4 paper.
Something was missing from my life, but I didn't know what.
But then I found what I'd been missing.
The Coin Bureau deals page was the answer to my prayers.
It had everything I needed to make me complete.
Exchange sign-up bonuses of up to $50,000.
The biggest discounts on the best hardware wallets.
trading fee discounts of up to 60% on the best crypto exchanges.
Exclusive altcoin alpha.
Thank you, Coin Bureau, for bringing me back to life.
Okay, the next question is from Magical CB, and he's asking, how much of a risk is there that ETF issuers will gain a controlling stake in a coin or token?
Yeah, this has been talked about a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
The worry is, I guess, that the likes of BlackRock and Fidelity and all these other ones are buying up a lot of BTC, hence the reason that we broke 50K. And in order to back the shares of the ETFs, in order to meet the demand. So people are worried that because they are becoming big holders, they may be able to, manipulate the price or influence the blockchain in some way. I should say, for a start, with a proof of work blockchain like Bitcoin, just because you hold a huge amount of it, that still isn't possible. A proof of stake blockchain, however, would be something different.
Yeah.
So I think if the Ethereum ETFs come along, then that should be a genuine concern. Yeah. Because obviously, if you hold an enormous amount of ETH, then that gives you, an enormous amount of sway over the network potentially. Obviously, it means you can run, many more validators.
You have the stake power to be able to do it.
Yeah. So, but I guess from a purely just being able to manipulate BTC's price, then that's not possible, however much you hold. And I should also point out that, Bitcoin derives much of its value from the fact that it is an incorruptible network. So for an entity like, for instance, BlackRock to gather up, to try or, to even attempt to manipulate the network in some way, which is almost impossible. For it to even do that would be nonsensical because it would then devalue the product that BlackRock is holding so much of.
Yeah.
So again, and this is where, Bitcoin's kind of game theory dynamics, the genius of Bitcoin's design comes into play. Yes, in theory, an entity could get enough hash power together to corrupt the network, but then that would completely devalue all the Bitcoin they hold. So only an entity that was hell-bent on destroying Bitcoin, for the hell of it, would be able to do that. And it's pretty much impossible anyway, given the hash power on the network now.
Yeah, and to be honest, how would they exert influence necessarily over the miners? It's a great to hypothesize that, but think about first of all, there's a lot of different, the miners, not all of them are listed, many miners internationally. A country could also, there's countries that are starting up mining operations, so the mining network itself is diversified enough. And I don't think that necessarily, even if BlackRock was to go and become an owner, it would hold and could try and exert influence on public miners, which is, first of all, think about how would a fund manager necessarily go and indirect, I know it's nice to hypothesize this, but how would a fund manager actually go and direct the miner to, control and coordinate in this kind of stuff, a publicly listed company, right?
Yeah.
In today's, you have to really think it's a dystopian existence when a fund manager like that can direct companies to do something like that.
And the fact that BlackRock is now a BTC whale, obviously whales are able to manipulate the price to an extent, but obviously BlackRock, has to hold this Bitcoin on behalf of its clients, on behalf of its ETF shareholders. So it can't necessarily just go in and start playing shenanigans in the market, dumping a whole load of BTC on the market. It could only do that if its shareholders were looking to offload BTC themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
So it has to keep those shares in its ETF backed by the asset in question. So if its shareholders are hodling, then BlackRock has to hodl as well. Otherwise, it's neglecting its fiduciary duty.
BlackRock doesn't own them, right? It's if you think about it, it's how the mechanics of how it works. The authorized participants are the ones that goes into the market and goes and redeems or issues the shares. They'll go and deal with crypto market makers who will go and buy and sell the crypto. It's all legally laid out with protocols in place. This is why there was so much requirement beforehand before these ETF issuers could even launch. So there's many fiduciary checks, there's many protocols in place. So all the essence of the US financial market, from the SEC to the issuers to the APs, market makers, would have to coordinate to create this nefarious plan to take over the Bitcoin network, which is
The other thing, this is something that Charles Hoskinson was sort of talking about in a recent video of his that we've actually made a video about ourselves because it was a really interesting point. But there is, I guess, the possibility of the Bitcoin network forking in the future. I mean, Bitcoin was forked previously. That's how we got Bitcoin Cash, for example. So there could in theory come a point in the future where Bitcoin forks, and then a huge entity like BlackRock or these asset managers as a whole, who obviously hold a lot of BTC, could then decide which particular fork they wanted to support. Let's say it was forking, the people wanting to fork it were wanting to create a proof of stake Bitcoin, then BlackRock could in theory support that new proof of stake fork.
Yeah.
Again, though, you run the risk of completely devaluing the asset.
But I don't think I've seen that theory as well. I don't think, and we addressed it in the Q&A last week, but I don't think that's practical. I don't think it's possible because remember back, trying to fork it, you'd need not only the support of the miners, you'd need the support of the node operators, the core maintainers, you'd need all the infrastructure providers, the exchanges to support the new proof of stake fork. And think back to 2017, right? Like the previous hard fork, that's how it was increasing the block size, which wasn't. And now think about you actually asking the Bitcoin network to support a completely new consensus mechanism chain. Like which of this decentralized ecosystem that is Bitcoin are going to want to support that? You can't just have one component, one leg of the chair. You can't just have, we got the mining power, or we have the coins, because then you have to convince everyone else on the network. So even that theory is a bit out there,
Yeah. It's not something that keeps me up at night, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question comes from Coinclusion. Very nice, very good name. How do you research crypto?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. First of all, you're asking the right question, right? I like the fact that you're doing this because obviously it's important to DYOR and not take anyone's word for gospel and actually go and understand how to research your own cryptocurrencies, because that way you can find your own exciting altcoin alpha instead of relying on other people to give it to you. And we also have a video on how to do your own research on the channel, which we'll link. We got a couple. I think we got at least 2, and we also are going to be working on a new one. So that's going to be coming out in the updated version, the 2024 version.
Nice.
But I'll give you a quick TLDR. I think that the way you want to think about researching cryptocurrencies is if you're looking at a wide swath of coins, you want to basically narrow it down and use a filtering process, right? And look at some metrics. So you go and take a look at CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, go and look at stuff like where it's listed, its volume, its liquidity, its supply. All of these factors are important to be able to ascertain, has this coin got life? Is it something I should look deeper down and drill into more? So then once you've filtered that out and you've got a few coins and you can dive a bit deeper, you want to go and look at more of the high-level data, everything from fundamentals, addresses, TVL, if it's a DeFi protocol or an L2, you want to take a look at total addresses, you want to take a look at the actual underlying tech, its unique selling points. These can all be done. There's a lot of data aggregation sites and research sites out there. Masari, Binance Research, Token Terminal, Coinbureau.com. We got a lot of information for you about these coins and protocols that will help. That's collated all this information in one place, so you can utilize that, and then you can also then, assuming you're still interested in it, it sounds like an exciting project and it meets all the checks. Also, you need to then drill into tokenomics. You need to take a look at what's the inflation rates, what's the vesting schedule like, right? Because if there's obviously a lot of VC backing, a lot of early backers, you want to know if that's going to come unlocked in the future, because that can impact on price. You can drill down further. Then if you think it's exciting, you can still look at the interviews with founders. That helps a lot.
That's a big one, yeah.
That's a big one. You can see if they've stuck to their vision, if they're smart, and if they're technically involved, if they and matching up what they've said in previous interviews with and videos with what they've actually delivered on, because the track record is important.
Yeah.
And you can drill even further. If you really zoned in on this project, you're thinking about investing, you're thinking about allocating, and you decide how much, then you can drill down even further into actually looking at the white paper, looking at the docs, and actually doing that in-depth research. But the goal here is obviously to filter out quickly, to get down to the bottom. And then once you're almost ready to allocate, you go straight to source, make sure the latest information has been presented on these data aggregators, and you've got the latest information, the Lotus roadmap, what are they working on? So I think that's like a high level of how I think about looking at research. I don't know if there's anything you'd...
There's tons more stuff you can look at. You know, if it's a good thing often is to see, going back to the interviews with founders, go back as far back as you can on YouTube. You know, find the really early interviews with these guys, because often there's interviews that may only have been watched like 20 times or something when these people were complete unknowns. And it's really interesting to see how well the project has stuck to its original vision. How, you know, and are they still going for the same goal, or have they rebranded, have they realigned their direction or whatever? You know, that's really telling. It's also, how long has this project been around for? Because in crypto people love shiny new things, and because it's such an evolving market, and because the tech is still relatively new, quite often you might spot this project and actually find that it's been around for a long time. I mean, I know we were talking about Filecoin earlier, which has been around for a long time. But quite often, you know, these projects have been around for a long time. Their all-time high has sort of come and gone, and actually they've been replaced by shinier, newer projects with better tech, you know, more focused team. And it's not always fair. You know, sometimes this project could have been great, but it's just, you know, it's just been overtaken. It's just not had its time. So do see how long it's been around for, and also check its community as well. How engaged is it on social media? How engaged is its community?
Community is very important. That's a good point, actually. Because community and social metrics, that determines what's going to actually give it, not just from the perspective of price potential, right? Because people are going to want to buy it, but also from the perspective of community that wants to build on it, you know, allocate TVL if it's one of these other, you know, like I say, DeFi protocols. So community is a good one.
And check the niche narrative it's in as well, you know, because narrative is huge at the moment.
And keep an eye out for that video. Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, now time for the next question, and that is from Fadilahi. I tried. And he's asking, do any of you guys trade derivatives with leverage or only spot trading? So any 100x trades going on there, guy?
Not for me. No, I don't touch leverage. I'm not a trader. I never have been. I just leave well alone. I'm spot all the way. What about you?
I mean, so I guess the first question is like, I don't trade regularly. I used to be a trader. I used to trade. Now I mostly just hodl and buy and hold fundamental investment, because I think that it's important to know that you have to be very, you have to focus constantly on your trades. You have to, it takes a lot of dedication and effort. It's not just something you can do on the fly. So that's the one thing. I don't trade regularly. Now, when it comes to the question on derivatives, I mean, we always defer to the stage of like, just don't touch leverage, don't, just trade spot. But I think that, it's a question of like experience, right? And risk comes, like Warren Buffett likes to say, risk comes from not knowing what you're doing, right? So I have traded with leverage in the past. I have used leverage as an important tool, but I think you need to obviously do it in a risk managed way, not more than 10x. Have stops and take profits, utilize isolated margin. And it's not a quick, surefire way to make a lot of money and big gains. I know you want to think about, let me just go and trade 100x on this altcoin or whatnot, but you obviously increase your risk significantly. So, I think that it's something that can be done in a risk-managed fashion with experience, and trade demo account before going to use your actual money on it. And it's not a quick way to make money, and be careful of anyone who's telling you differently. So I have used it. Don't trade regularly anymore. But if you guys are going to be doing it, rather start spot, no leverage. Don't use the slider. Don't move the slider. And until you've actually got experience, until you've actually done it with some demo accounts, and until you feel comfortable with it, fully comfortable. So yeah.
Or just stick to spot.
Stick to spot. Well, you don't have to trade.
Life's complicated enough.
You don't have to trade. Like I say, it's a situation you can just literally buy and hold coins that have strong fundamentals, and you can make a lot of money on some small altcoin not on low market cap coins. And if you get in them at the right time, and you don't have to necessarily sell, hold it for a few months, and don't have to constantly churn and enter and exit positions.
Lots of people make the mistake of thinking they're a trader when they are most definitely not. Okay, Serali.po. Oh, I think he's asked before. They say Denkun is good for L2s. Then why price of L2s been so sluggish lately, e.g. MATIC? Well, I should say not all layer 2s have had sluggish price action recently. Some have been doing pretty well. But you're right, the likes of MATIC, MATIC has been pretty static of late.
Like that. That came out of the blue. Did you think about
it? It just came to me. It just came. No, I was up all night.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a good question. Why have some layer 2s been underperforming?
Why has some layer 2s and MATIC has been static?
Yeah.
Not ecstatic.
Not ecstatic. No, you see, it just throws it right back.
There you go. I guess the question is obviously, I think Polygon and Polygon's proof of stake sidechain, remember it's a sidechain and it's not necessarily a roll-up. Now there's a lot of excitement that's been over the past 2 years on roll-up technology, right? And that is what Arbitrum and Optimism are, specifically optimistic roll-ups. So as a sidechain, Polygon's proof of stake chain, it hasn't had that much excitement around it from a narrative perspective, but more specifically related to the Denkun, is that because it is a ZK rollup and not an optimistic rollup, it's not going to benefit as much from the upgrade as the optimistic rollups are. Because a ZK rollup, if you know the tech difference between an optimistic rollup and a zero knowledge rollup, is that ZK rollups assume they have to do a lot more tests or checks to be able to verify that the transactions are in fact correct. Whereas optimistic is, it assumes an optimistic state of the network, right? So it assumes innocent until proven guilty. And so the checks required on a ZK rollup is a lot more thorough than with an optimistic. So when it comes to, for instance, posting data, is what most of these rollups do to the Ethereum main chain. And with the upgrade with Denkun, it's obviously going to have these data blob transactions, which will benefit the optimistic rollups because they post the data. Whereas ZK rollups will constantly have to do these fraud checks, which will require a lot more, transactions, which obviously is not going to benefit from the implementation of the data block transactions on Denkun. So long short of it is ZK rollups are not going to benefit as much from the scaling, from the decrease in fees that you're going to see from Denkun as the optimistic rollups. And also a few other things on Polygon's side. I think that Ryan Watt, he was one of the big partnerships guy at Polygon. He moved to Optimism last year.
Yeah.
As well as stuff around that, obviously, because Polygon had a lot of these partnerships in the past. But I think Polygon is they've got so exciting things they're working on.
Yeah.
Jess interviewed Sandeep, the founder, a few weeks ago, and that's on the main channel as well. And they've got this Polygon 2.0, which is going to obviously a lot of advancements there, potentially like this chain development kits. I would encourage you to watch that interview. We also have, a few days ago, we did a video on the L2s building on Ethereum and the impact that Denkun could have on them. So I'd encourage you guys to take a look at that. And also one more point to make is the L2 space has become super competitive now.
Yeah,
right?
really competitive.
So, also with Starknet now releasing, and they've got to also releasing their token airdrop, and obviously now. So there's a lot of competition for Polygon, and hopefully they can find their niche.
Yeah, Mantle, who we did an AMA, Jess did an AMA with someone from the Mantle team on Discord last night. That was great. Yeah, and I guess with Polygon especially, Polygon, it's always true to say the larger the market cap of a coin or token, the harder it is to pump. And Polygon has an absolutely enormous market cap.
Exactly.
Therefore, the sort of gains that you'd see from something with a lower market cap are harder to come by. So that's, something to bear in mind as well.
Rasta Romes.
Interesting name.
That's an interesting name. I would love to know the story behind that. And he's asking, I want to meet you, crypto guy. Invite me to Dubai. Emoji.
Nice. Well, you don't need me to tell you to invite you to Dubai. You can always come of your own steam. Well, we are, if you want an opportunity to come here to Dubai and meet me and the rest of the team, then if you sign up to Coin Bureau Club before the 28th of February, so you've still got a few days, then you'll be entered into a prize draw, and the winner of that wins a trip to Dubai. So that's 2 return flights. So you get a +1, $600 in USDT in spending money. You get tickets to Token 2049, which will be happening around that time. This is in April. You also get tickets to our exclusive Token 2049 side event. You get to come and hang out at the office. You get to come and have lunch with me and Jess. And there are loads of other things
obviously
as well.
Got a place to stay.
Oh yeah,
we've got to find a place for you to stay.
Yeah, you get put up in a hotel as well. So yeah, that's your opportunity, Rasta, if you want to take it. Sign up to Coin
now.
Bureau.
A few more days to go, guys. We will make the announcement on the 1st of March. We'll choose the winner. There's your opportunity to meet the crypto guy and the rest of the Coin Bureau crew.
Yeah.
The
wild bunch that we are. Okay, moving on. Next question comes from Sokin. Do you have any plans for expanding the channel in terms of content, participants, etc.?
Yeah, we do. I mean, obviously, you guys will have seen we've got, in case you didn't know, we've already got a Spanish channel, right? So we're always looking to expand out in terms of different language channels. So if you guys can want to produce the content in your own language and you want to help out and be the face of a new Coin Bureau language channel. We also just launched Coin Bureau Asia, by the way, another good one. We've got, I'll leave a link to a form where you can fill out below if that's something you want to help out with. But of course, we also have a pretty sizable channel called Coin Bureau Trading, which is still looking for a host. So if you guys obviously very good with trading, you work very hard, you're very presentable, and you want to be part of a dynamic team, then Coin Bureau Trading is looking for a host, and we'll also leave a link to that in the description below as well. We are looking to expand and always interested to speak to people who can do what we do. Follow those links down below, and maybe you can be the face, the new face of Coin Bureau Trading.
Yeah. And look, eventually we're going to want more faces here on the main channel and clips as well. So if you're passionate about crypto and you're knowledgeable and well-spoken and articulate and great on camera, then, it would be great if you could come and replace me. Let us know, because the next big Coin Bureau star is out there. We want more faces on the channel. We want to expand. We want to bring you more content. So maybe that person could be you.
Or we could just leverage AI technology and completely replace you.
Or you could just replace me with an AI. Would probably be much better.
The AI guy,
yeah. Okay, final question.
Final question is from Mike Urindrums. And he's asking, do any of you have any cheeky meme coins in your portfolio? If so, which ones? Cheeky meme coins.
Cheeky meme coins.
Have you been cheeky and bought some meme coins?
I did, I have. So I had this great idea a few weeks ago that with Chinese New Year coming up and what with it being the year of the dragon, I thought, that means dragon-themed meme coins could do well.
Surefire analysis.
It's absolutely.
Like 1 billion people are celebrating news.
Yeah, just bulletproof reasoning. So I bought $100 of Silly Dragon, which is a meme coin on Solana. And I bought $100 of Baby Dragon, which I don't even know what chain Baby Dragon's. I think it's an ERC20 or something. And both, since I bought them, both have gone down just almost vertically. So much for my analysis. To be fair, I'm not sure any dragon theme. I don't think I necessarily picked the wrong dragon theme meme coins. I just, it just didn't work out.
So why did you zone in on a silly dragon and a baby dragon? Is there any particular reason? Is there any method to the madness here?
Well, what was my reasoning? There must have been Silly Dragon. I think it was a Solana one. So I kind of felt, well, Solana's so hot right now. Meme coins on Solana, so that made a lot of sense. So I thought, there could be exposure there. Baby Dragon, I think I was just going through dragon themed meme coin. Oh yeah, I did see that it was on BitGet, so it did have a centralized SEX listing. So I thought, well, that might make it easier. And both have made.
There was no dragon with hat?
I don't think there was dragon with hat. Otherwise, I'd have gone all in, dragon with hat, everything. So I've managed to turn $200 into, I don't even check it anymore because, I don't have enough copium in the tank. But I would say I've managed to turn $200 into around maybe $50.
Oh, it's okay. You can still hold that stuff till the next year of the dragon. How many years is that? Can be die-hard hodler.
Quite a long way away.
Baby dragon, silly dragon to the grave.
Never give up. Never give up. Next time Chinese
Not a loss until you sell.
Yeah, exactly. And I should point out, I'm pretty sure the Chinese New Year festivities are now over, but, the year of the dragon got a whole year. What about you, Nick? Have you gone in on any stupid meme coins?
I haven't. Unfortunately, haven't made that move yet. I just don't have the in-depth the time to do so much like top tier due diligence to find baby and silly dragon on and actually like tying it down with the New Year's themes. So I just I don't have the time to do that. I did dabble with some meme coins last year. I bought in on this one called. This was around the time of the Pepe craze.
Right.
I bought one called Wojak, which did I did make a good return on, and then I bought one called. There was this bot on Twitter that always was like a very famous bot that that Elon Musk always referred to, and I thought, oh well, this is a surefire way. Elon Musk is sometimes saying good bot is tipping bot. It's like a summary bot. I think that's what it was. And it was a bot on Twitter, and they created a coin about it. And I thought, well, yeah, it's Elon Musk. He's definitely going to basically, like, every time he mentions this, it's going to pump the coin. And he did mention it once, and that was to say that all bots related to cryptocurrency were being their accounts terminated. And that's the extent of my...
Be careful what you wish for.
0. So...
Oh, dear.
It wasn't the tweet I was hoping for, and it wasn't the result I was hoping for, but it was a good theory.
Yeah, well, a good theory, like the dragon theory. Theory is great, but practice...
Meme coins, but there can sometimes be a method to the madness, and there is a theory, there is a slight science to choosing meme coins. We have a video on the main channel about finding these meme coins before they pump, but it is, of course, one of these things. Please just manage your risk and don't go all in.
It's just gambling, really. At the end of the day,
don't go all in on the year of the rabbit next year, please.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'll say. I'm like, rabbit theme coins. And then I'll watch as some rabbit theme coin just goes absolutely bananas. And, Nick's gone in on it. And just don't. Jess is in on a meme coin at the moment. But I don't think we should look at how it's doing today.
Yeah, we should.
Anyhow, on that note, thanks for watching, guys. That was another Clips. Nick, thank you for joining.
Pleasure being here as always, man. Yeah, next time I'm going to bring the top jacket as well. Yeah.
Like I say, let us know in the comments if you want to see the rest of this outfit. It is something pretty special.
It's shiny and glowy all the time.
Yeah, but you need a green one.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be back again soon, guys. Thank you for watching. And keep sending your questions in.
Bye.
See ya.